Hello, my name is Jesse. I'm doing this video for my portfolio site. This is a project that I was doing for school. This is not for a business. It has not been uh, fully it has not been fully tested as a application for release, um, but it met all of the requirements for the project. It was written in JavaFX for cross-platform uh, uh, user interface with Java 8. And this, because this was a project, it's not linked to any type of persistent data storage. This is all in-memory data. And so I'm just going to do a quick tour of just a couple things that it does to kind of show you what I've been able to do with the code and what I can do again. But like I said, this has not been properly tested. It wasn't for an actual business, so it's not really, it's technically not production ready, but I got it to where it met the requirements for the project, and left it at that. So there may be one or two bugs in here that are not related to the criteria. But this is a pretend inventory management system that stores parts and products. And this is a many to one relationship. There could be several parts that are related to a product, and you add them separately. And a product has to have a part. And there's a lot of checks and balances and error messages that can come up. I did this a couple months ago, so I don't remember exactly all the little things it does, and it would probably take too long to do that anyway. So I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of what this is. So we can add a part. You can have it linked as outsourced or in-house. If it's in-house and outsourced, looks a little bit different, because if it's in-house, it has a machine ID that needs to be recorded. And if it's in-sourced, it has to have the name of the company that it comes from. And so it's that type of thing. And this is automatically generated, so I had that disabled no matter what. So let's say that we have a factory that makes toy trucks, and let's just say that we have a toy truck wheels. So a wheel, we can say that we have 1,000 of them in there, and that they each cost 10 cents or 1/10 of a dollar, and that the maximum amount of product that we could hold in our warehouse is 5,000, and that we have to have at least let's say we have to have at least 1,200 in inventory at any given time for whatever business requires. Again, this is all just kind of made up on the spot. And let's just say the machine ID is 123. So this is an in-house part. So it says the inventory minimum and maximum values are out of range. Please check the values and try again. And the reason this is because I said we have 1,000 inventory, and the minimum is 1,200. So let's say that if this was a business case, that we ordered 200 more, and then we add it into the inventory. So now we have the minimum that we need. So we can go ahead and save that. And let's say that let's add another one. Let's say we have an outsourced part called truck body, which will just be like a whole plastic component, and all we do is make the wheels in-house, and we just stick the wheels on there. So let's say the inventory, let's do roughly a quarter of whatever the wheels are. So the inventory, let's see, 1,200 divided by 4 is 300. And let's say the minimum is also 300. And the maximum I'd put is 5,000. But, you know, let's say the maximum, because this is a much bigger part, let's just say it's 2,000, which is slightly above that, but let's say we can store that many. And let's say the company is Toy Trucks R Us Incorporated. So let's save that. Okay, and so now, and because this is a built-in, because this is a built-in table view within JavaFX, it's easy to sort things by the various things, and also have a search mechanism. So if you want to look for parts that start with W, it'll come up with that. And if you want to start one that starts with a T, it'll come up with that. And if you search for nothing, it'll pop up all of them back. Obviously, if this was for a real company, I think that instead of pressing search would actually be whenever, you know, on key up or whatever, like you have in HTML, that the listener, after a key is pressed inside or the value's changed in here, that it does all that automatically. But because the search button was part of the criteria, because it was part of a mockup, that's how it had to be. And of course, then you can modify and everything the same as everything. And then we're going to cancel. Are you sure you want to cancel? Yes. Okay, so now all this other stuff is the same too. I actually have these two sections. The user interface is actually a duplicate object, duplicated, or two different objects from the same class, and with just minor differences. So we save lines of code. And of course this is different, and the column names are different and all that kind of stuff. But it's there's a common class that builds these two sections of the application. So we're going to add, let's say that we're going to have a toy, let's do a lowercase, toy truck. Let's say the inventory is 300, because that's how many truck bodies we have. And let's say the cost is, let's say the cost is $1, and that the maximum we can have is 2,000, and the minimum we can have is 300, just like the truck bodies are. And let's try to save this. And it says a product must have at least one part associated with it. Please add a part. Try again. So these are the parts that exist that are not associated with the product. So if I want to add this and add this, now these two products are associated with, or these two parts are associated with this product, and this this table has nothing, since we only have those two products available to search from. And also the search works the same for this table and everything that we saw before. So now we're going to save that. And actually I forgot to add a price to this. Let's call this, let's just say 50 cents, who knows, and who cares. Okay, so that's basically it. There's really not much else to show on this, but it's just sort of a sample. This took me a couple days to make. Actually, it took me, probably actually not a couple days, more like 4 days or so, because I was learning. I already knew a lot in Java when I was making this, and but I hadn't really been exposed to JavaFX much, and so I had a lot to try to catch up on, because I do user interface stuff with Android and HTML, and it's usually pretty easy to keep it all sorted out, because each language, especially with the user interface, kind of has their own feeling to it. But in this case, I had to learn about a lot about the user interface in JavaFX before attempting, and also the application objects and stuff. And it's also my my language of choice for desktop applications now. So that's it, and if you look more on my website, you can see some other projects that I've done. So have a good one, and thanks for listening. Bye.